on, get up. Time for your morning wake-up call. 49ers with a big game-ending stop. Take a listen.
He takes it. He turns. He gives to Kyren Williams. He gets packed. I think he's short, Tim. I think he's short. And the 49ers storm the field. It is all over. The 49ers have won it in overtime here in L.A.
What an unbelievable win. High drama finishes in favor of the mass unit, the 49ers, and they earned it.
Niners get a huge win last night despite all the injuries. They were 8.5-point dogs going into the game, according to our friends at ESPN Bet Sportsbook, pulling off the largest betting upset of the season so far. Time to play a little game of repeat or retreat. Bart Scott, we start with you. Will the Rams repeat or retreat in the NFC West?
I think they're going to repeat. Listen, there's nothing that I saw yesterday that makes me not believe in the Rams. Listen, when you're going on your way through a season, you're going to have moments where you're up and down. I think they have a talented roster. I think they have the best quarterback in that division. And when you have that, you have the better chance to win the division.
Harry Douglas, over to you. Will the Kansas City Chiefs repeat or retreat in the AFC West?
Joe, I'll tell you, Kansas City looked great last week versus the Baltimore Ravens, but I'm going retreat. I am sticking to my guns that I had coming into the season. I'm going with the Denver Broncos winning the AFC West. I love the way they're running the football right now. They're fifth in rushing, and I'm always going to bank on that defense making plays for them as well.
Bart Scott, back over to you. Will your Baltimore Ravens repeat or retreat in the AFC North?
Come on, man. I'm contractually obligated. They're going to repeat, man. When you talk about the Baltimore Ravens, this is an organization that have won games a different way. They transferred it to an offensive team. They have defensive DNA. They'll figure out a new way to win by taking the air out of the ball and limiting the possessions and playing great special teams as they always do.
All right, now take a look at this. Despite the Ravens' 1-3 start, they're still the odds-on favorite at -145 to win the AFC North. Steelers are closing in at +175. Baltimore and Pittsburgh won't meet until Week 14. A note on that -145, some people might think that's shocking given their records. If you flip those prices to indicate the favorite as Pittsburgh and then the number 2 is Baltimore, the amount of money the sportsbooks would take on Baltimore to come back and win the division would put them in such a precarious scenario from a liability standpoint. That is why they're still the favorite, because despite the injuries and despite the record, the power rating still suggests they're much better than the Pittsburgh Steelers. All right, Peter, must-win game for the Ravens, currently sitting 1-3.
Week 5, no. It's not. And it's not because the schedule will get softer. You got to look what the Ravens have had to play the last several weeks. You're talking about a very good Lions offense, talking about a Chiefs team that came alive in Arrowhead, and, of course, Buffalo. Those are 3 of the toughest teams they'll play. Their schedule gets soft. Take a look at their last 8 weeks. You look at this, they could be 1-7 going into these final 8 games at Browns, Jets, Bengals twice. And then you're going to have to get by the Steelers. So if you beat the Steelers head-to-head, that's basically 2 wins each. And then, of course, the Patriots and Green Bay is going to be tough. Lamar will get right. And I do not discount the fact that this team goes to the playoffs every year. John Harbaugh is a Super Bowl winning coach. And there is the metal inside of them where they're not a young team that's looking at each other pointing fingers just yet. I think this team could lose this game, even with Cooper Rush or it's Lamar Jackson, and still be okay. I know that's crazy in today's hot take world. This is a long, long season. And even if they start off 1-5, I think the Ravens could still make a run in the second half of the
See
season.
if we can get something a little spicier over here. If Lamar can't go, are the Ravens toast against the Texans?
They are. And it's because of the defense of the Houston Texans. 1,000%. I think they need to do a better job of running the football. Bart pointed that out earlier. Derrick Henry has 0 games this season when he has rushed for over 19 carries. 0.
0?
Like, Todd Monken has to do a better job when it comes to orchestrating this offense. But I do believe because Lamar's not out there, it's going to force the hand for the Baltimore Ravens to run the football. But then when they go back and pass it, Danielle Hunter and Will Anderson Jr. and Derek Stingley Jr., who is a ball hawk, I think this Texans defense, they're in a desperation situation.
Sure are.
We can't just talk about this one-sided with the Baltimore Ravens.
They looked good against the Titans last week.
This is an opportunity for Houston to try to turn their season around. But the Baltimore Ravens and the inability to stop a nosebleed really bothers me right now.
I mean, we make excuses for everybody, right? But we make none for the Baltimore Ravens. No Meta BK.
You make a lot for the Baltimore Ravens.
Well, no Meta BK, no Travis Jones, no Kyle Van Noy. Well, 2 of those guys are going to come back. and they can protect that defense by running the football. But you act like all they can do is run the football. If you have to load the box because Derrick Henry is eating and Justin Hill is eating, then they have two of the best, most unique tight ends in the game as well. Okay, so then now we're going to bring our safeties down and match with them. Zay Flowers is a budding star. Bateman is a good number 2. So they have options. They just have to realize they don't have to be so heavily dependent on Lamar Jackson. They have other great players that they can lean on.
Let me ask you this question. Game on the line. You're counting on the Baltimore Ravens defense to get a stop.
I'm counting.
Yes or no, Bart?
I'm counting on the Baltimore Ravens.
Yes or no, Bart? I'm just asking you a simple question. Are you counting on the Baltimore Ravens to get a stop? Are you betting up your palatial estate that the Baltimore Ravens are going to get a stop?
You don't have to fall for this.
Yes. It's not an icebox where my heart used to be. They'll figure it out.
I would just add this. There's nothing positive to say about the Baltimore Ravens the first month.
That's fine.
There's been, and yet, I know we've got Heather Dinnish coming on. She's a diehard Steelers fan. We've got a lot of people who are Steelers fans out there. I don't know if that Steelers team, the way it's built with all those veterans, that they can go the distance of 18 weeks and still be healthy at the end. Baltimore gets a soft schedule in the second half of the season. They could lose the next 2 weeks, and I wouldn't give up on them.
Mike Tomlin's going to win 15 one-score games this year. I've been betting against it for 5 years. It has been killing me for 5 consecutive years. Excellent stuff, gentlemen. Let's leave it there for a second. Switch over to college football.
I think the expectations were nuts. The kid hasn't beaten anybody.
He's not the Heisman favorite, but he never should have been.
Told Arch before the season, you've never really been a quarterback until they boo you. He got booed in the first half. Now he can start playing.
There's a lot of football in there that's high-level quality football.
Showing that swagger. He's fired up.
A lot of fun as an offense and as a team in general, so got to keep it going into Florida.
All right, big weekend in college football. So for that, we bring in Heather Dinnish and Jordan Rogers to get you set with everything you need to know for Week 6. Heather, I want to begin with you. What is Texas playing for against Florida tomorrow?
Well, it's playing to impress the committee with a win against the team it's supposed to beat. That's what the committee members are looking for. If they go into the swamp and they lose, that's a bad loss. You can see the chances here and what would happen, how it would drop with a loss. Now look, bad losses have been overcome before. I'll point to Notre Dame, Northern Illinois last year. But here's the thing. Billy Napier could be the next head coach fired. Okay, Florida's 1-3. This is a beleaguered team. And if Texas can't go on the road and beat a 1-3 team, how are they going to go on the road and beat a 3-1 Georgia team?
1-3 with a struggling offense. Jordan Rogers, that defense for Florida has been outstanding to say the least. And they're battle-tested LSU, South Florida, and Miami. What is Arch Manning going to have to do as we flip the calendar to October?
Well, he's going to have to continue to build off some of the success we saw against Sam Houston State. And I realize it's Sam Houston State, but the week before against UTEP, he looked bad. 11 of 25, only completed 44% of his passes. What I've seen from Arch is development and progression with his fundamentals. His feet are in the right spot. He's stepping into throws. He's not trying to leave his feet wide and sidearm in there. Everyone's like, what's he doing? Is he hurt? No. His feet are better. His consistency and accuracy has gone up, and he's going to need that against Florida. This is a really good defense. They play a ton of bracket coverage, which means they take away the inside throws. They force you to work the perimeter. The run game for Arch, him using his feet, that's the X factor. We saw it come alive against Sam Houston State. We saw the swagger, the confidence after a couple runs. Arch needs to get him going early with his feet.
Texas allowing just 4 points per game in the first half. Florida allowing just 10 points per game in the first half. Naturally, that's a segue into betting the first half under 20.5 total points. Heather, back to you. Miami and Florida State renew their rivalry in primetime on ABC tomorrow. What's in play here?
Well, for Miami, it's the #1 spot in the country. Look, I know Ohio State fans say we're it. Oregon fans say we're it. A lot of teams can make a case. But if Miami wins this game, I would think the selection committee would reward them for the best overall resume to this point. You've got a win against Florida State, South Florida, Notre Dame. So I think that's what's at stake for the Canes, is really taking command of that top spot. For Florida State, this is a game they have to win because this is probably their last chance to impress the selection committee against a ranked opponent. Down the stretch, you're banking on wins against Clemson, Florida, which we've already talked about. You're going to have a lot of really good 10-2 teams, and I don't think Florida State wants to get into that debate with the rest of the schedule.
Jordan, Miami's off their bye week, but this is their first road game of the season. Are the Canes on upset alert Saturday?
Yeah, they are on upset alert because I don't think what we saw last week with Florida State losing a shootout to Virginia really changes anything. They can still run the football. They're number 2 in the country in rushing, but Miami is as good as it gets in run defense. They're 8th, and I think they're a lot better in that. They shut down Notre Dame. Price and Love only had 93 yards. They shut down Florida on the ground. So it's strength on strength, which means Miami is going to lose this game before Florida State wins this game. And I'm talking directly to Carson Beck. We've seen more of the Georgia version of Carson Beck the last couple of weeks. 3 interceptions in the last 2 games. He's forcing throws. Carson needs to play like a quarterback that realizes he has an elite run game with Mark Fletcher handed off and an elite defense. You don't have to play Superman. If he doesn't turn the football over, Miami should win this.
Excellent point. If you go back and look at Carson Beck's home road splits at Georgia, very different quarterback when playing on the road. Goodbye low spot for the Seminoles here. Everyone's checked out after what happened against Virginia last week. We'll take the points. Heather, back to you. Site a College game day tomorrow. Big rematch from what we saw last year when Vanderbilt upset Alabama. What's at stake for these two teams?
Well, for Vandy, it's a chance to go from the role of spoiler to an actual contender. For their quarterback, Diego Pavia, it's a chance to really get into this Heisman conversation. And look, for Bama, they can technically afford to lose this game because any team with a chance to win its conference has a chance to play for the national title. Remember, they were the committee's highest 3-loss team last year.
Jordan, should Alabama be on upset alert for the second year in a row?
No doubt. This is not your daddy's Vandy team. This is not my Vanderbilt team from 2012. They are big and physical. They average 322 pounds across the offensive line. I didn't even have a 300-pounder back in the day in 2012 when we won 9 games. So Alabama cannot let Vandy make this their type of game. That's what it was last year. They controlled the ball for 42 minutes. They rushed the ball 54 times. Alabama's got to try to make them one-dimensional, make Diego Pavia throw the football to win.
Brutal spot for Alabama. You win a big road game at Georgia. Now you got to turn around this week and get ready for a red-hot Vandy team. Diego Pavia in his entire collegiate career, going back to his time at New Mexico State as well, 18-8 straight up. If you look at the against the spread mark, he's got 12 outright upsets as an underdog. Heather Dinich, Jordan Rogers, tremendous stuff. We appreciate the time. What a Saturday ABC college football lineup we have for you. Starts at noon Eastern with number 12 Georgia hosting Kentucky. Then 10th ranked Alabama hosts 16th ranked Vandy. And at 7:30, number 3 ranked Miami and number 18 ranked Florida State. Each game is also available on the all-new ESPN app. Coming up, Cowboys chasing an October revival. Can Dak carry them on a run to save their season? That and much more when Get Up rolls on.
Here we go. That boy bad, baby. Look at big offensive lineman Caden Proctor last week for the Alabama Crimson Tide. Go, big man, go. This man has an influence on middle school guys. Let me tell you why that's true. Oh, look at this play. We have the Trinity Middle School Lions. That's Jacob Fletcher Jr. right there. Lining up wide at the wide receiver position, catching it with his hands. Look at this defender trying to hang on his back. He got it to the end zone. Caden Proctor and also Jacob Fletcher Jr. That boy bad. Influence.